Hello, my name is Miss Boys and I'm the Faculty Leader for Science here at Cotton. So what is science? So science is the study of the structure and behaviour of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. It is a challenging academic subject, but also a very practical based subject, and it teaches skills such as problem solving, data analysis, and also many mathematical skills too. It's separated into biology, chemistry, and physics, and we teach it in this way, where in biology, we study living organisms. In chemistry, we study matter, its properties and reactions. And in physics, we study the properties of matter and energy. So how do Year 9 pathways work in relation to science? So all students have been studying GCSE science this year so far. There is a lot of content to get through and a lot of knowledge that we need to kind of give to students. So therefore we start the GCSE in Year 9 rather than in Year 10. At the end of Year 11, students will sit external exams, either for combined science, which is worth 2 GCSEs, but they still cover all 3 sciences, or separate science, which is worth 3 GCSEs. I will talk a little bit more about the difference between these two on the next slide. Students who are on the orange or purple pathway can choose to either follow the combined science route or the separate science route from the start of Year 10. Students on the green pathway will automatically be entered for the combined science route. At the end of Year 10, after the summer mocks, a final decision will be made by the school and the science department as to whether it is best for your child to continue on the separate course, if that is what they have chosen, or for some students it may be suitable to swap them to the combined route for the remainder of Year 11. The reason for this is because we want to ensure that every single student is able to achieve a grade 4+ in their final GCSEs. The difference between the courses. So separate science, as I said before, students will come out with 3 GCSEs, 1 in physics, 1 in chemistry, and 1 in biology. They do lots of required practicals that are assessed in the exams. And the main difference is that both combined and separate have 6 exams at the end of Year 11, but in separate science, each of those 6 exams is an hour and 45 minutes each. There are 2 physics, 2 chemistry, and 2 biology. And as I said before, you will get a grade. Your child will get a grade in physics, a grade in chemistry, and a grade in biology. These are some of the topics that students cover in each of the different papers. So physics paper 1, for example, covers energy, resources, electricity, particles, and radioactivity. The separate science course is more demanding in terms of the amount of content that students will study. So in separate science, there are extra topics that cover a wider range of things, and it is more demanding on students. So the separate science course is not suitable for every student to study just because of that extra demand. The combined science course, students will come out with 2 GCSEs in a combination of all 3 sciences. So they still study all of physics, all of chemistry, and all of biology. As I said before, there's slightly less content in the combined science course, but it still has 6 exams at the end of Year 11. They're slightly shorter exams to separate. They are only an hour and 15 due to the fact that there is less content covered in combined science. So tier entries. So alongside combined and separate, for both combined and separate, students will either be entered for foundation tier or for higher tier. The final decision isn't made until March of Year 11, but to give you an idea of what these entail. So if a student is sitting foundation tier, then the grades go from 1 to 5. The papers are slightly less demanding. There is a few topics that aren't in the foundation tier, but a student can get any grade from grade 1 to 5. In the higher tier, the grades start at grade 4 and they go all the way up to grade 9. With the higher tier, students who do not achieve a grade 4 could come out with what's called an ungraded, a U grade. We do not want any students to end up in that position. So the choice of whether the decision of whether a student would do foundation or higher is really important and is really considered by the school as to what fits that child best. But as I said before, decision is not made until March of year 11, and therefore there's lots of opportunity for students to kind of demonstrate which tier is most suitable for them. The classroom environment. So all lessons take place on Cotham's main site. There are textbooks available and lessons for students to use. They are used sometimes, but most of our teaching is done through the whiteboard and presenting by staff. Our science classrooms give an area for teaching and writing as well as an area for practical investigation. And I will show you an image of what that looks like. So here is the classroom space, and then on the other side, if kind of the camera flipped around, you will see that there is also a really lovely lab space for us to do lots of practicals too. So how is the course material delivered? So all face-to-face teaching, taught material, practical investigations in the laboratory. We also do expect students to do some of their own independent learning, exactly as they are doing at the moment with their home learning on Seneca, and that will continue into year 10. In year 11, the home learning looks slightly different and will be more kind of exam question based, so students get them as much practice and exposure to those exam questions as possible. In terms of assessments, we do recall practice every single lesson. We do recall and extended writing practice every topic as well, and the extended writing is marked by the teacher, and there is plenty of opportunities for students to have a go at practice past paper questions in lessons too. Required practicals. So there are certain practicals which we do alongside other practicals, but these practicals are particularly important because they are the ones that are assessed in the exams. The kind of skills you may be asked to, or your child may be asked to do in regards to these practicals, they may be asked to write a method, consider the safety and risks, draw a graph of a set of results, state the variables involved in the investigation, or carry out calculations from the practical. So all of these skills are ones we practice throughout the course to ensure students are prepared for their exam at the end of year 11. There are lots of other resources that students have access to that will support them with the course. So Caboodle has all of the textbooks on there and also revision sheets and things like that. If your child is not able to access Caboodle, they are very welcome to email their teacher who can reset their password. As I said before, we set Seneca weekly as home learning, but students can also access it themselves and practice questions without them being set. There's also access to GCSE Pod through their Google login. And then on YouTube, there's free science lessons and Primrose Kittens, both of which are really, really useful videos that kind of consolidate what students are learning in class and help them with their revision. They will always be provided before assessments with assessment guidance, and that links to many of these different websites to help students prepare. There are also revision guides and workbooks available on WisePay. These are the main ones. There are also CGP revision guides as well. They're just to show you an example of what they look like. So this is the biology separate revision guide, as of which there is also chemistry and physics. And then there is always a corresponding workbook which students can use to answer questions using the revision guide. And they're really nice because the pages will match up and the topic titles match up. So students can use their revision guide to complete questions in the workbook. If your student does separate science, then chooses separate science, and these are the workbooks, the one that just have the name of the subject on the front. If your child chooses combined science, then you will need to look for the ones that say chemistry for combined science to ensure that they have the correct revision guide for the course they are studying. And as before, there is a matching workbook. If you are unsure as to whether to purchase the higher or foundation workbook, if you contact the child's science teacher, they will be able to guide you into, based on current assessments, where potentially which tier potentially your child will be sitting. But obviously that is not definite. But if you're not sure, please contact your child's science teacher. There are many, many, many careers that lead from doing science, from both, regardless of whether that's combined or separate science. A few of them are here. So many, many jobs in health, including doctors, nurses, healthcare assistants, things like a technician, a forensic technician, a forensic scientist, a operator, a mechanic, a microbiologist. So science is incredibly applicable to many, many different careers, even not directly. So, for example, a lawyer, you may not think links to science, but there are loads of jobs that require science knowledge, and loads of law jobs that require science knowledge to be able to do them. So it's applicable to many, many different careers. So at post-16s, once students leave year 11, we offer 5 different courses for students. We offer A-level physics, chemistry, and biology, and then we also offer applied science. We offer applied science level 3, which the entry requirements are a 4-4, at least in combined science, or 2 grade 4s in separate science. Applied science level 2, you need 4 GCSEs at grade 3 or above, including English language and maths. For the A-level subjects, for physics, you require 3 grade 6s in science and maths. And you also, it's the same for chemistry, but for biology, you need a 665 in 2 sciences and maths. The 666 does not mean that you have to do separate science to be able to do A-level physics, chemistry, or biology. You absolutely can still do combined science. You absolutely can still do physics, chemistry, and biology A-level with combined science. One of these grades is the mathematics grades. So if your child got 2 6s in combined science and then a 6 in maths, they would be able to study A-level physics, chemistry, or biology. Thank you very much for listening. For more information, you can visit the A-Career website or feel free to email me at the email address below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much.